to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this very late Monday evening. I'm recording this pretty much just before Tuesday. It's so late. I am your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo today as the NFL draft is creeping up on us. It's gonna be here before we know it, night one. And we got a bunch of new reports out there about what Miami may or may not do in round one. Some of it's new information, which I think is going to change a lot of fans' opinions on one player that they have pegged to Miami at 13. And we're going to talk about it all on today's show. Before we do that, if you're watching on YouTube, everyone, let's take a second, smash the like button. Everyone right now, just take a second, smash the like button. Also, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone go to the website, caneswear.com. That's right, caneswear.com. They have the best Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins jersey, hat, hoodie, golf shirt, t-shirt, polo, shorts, swim trunks, something for the home, something for the car, something for the grill with a Miami Dolphins logo on it, Caneswear.com is the site to go. Not only is it the best Miami Dolphins apparel, it's the most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. Why pay more at other websites, other larger websites that will mark up stuff? No. You go to Caneswear.com for the best Miami Dolphins apparel. They also have stuff for the Miami Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat, the Miami Marlins, got some Florida State, Florida, and all the college schools in the state of Florida. But really, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you're going to Caneswear.com for the best Miami Dolphins apparel. And yes, if you live outside of the United States, do not worry, they ship internationally as well. Also want to give a shout out to Dolphins Talk Extra. And if you're not a part of this yet, here's what you got to do. Go to our YouTube channel and find the interactive mock draft we did last Friday. That was exclusive to Dolphins Talk Extra members. And you got to go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Sign up for $3 a month. But we put that out there for free so everyone can get a sample of what some of the extra shows we do are on our Patreon site. It was a first-round mock draft. We had 15 people. Everyone was assigned a couple teams. Some people had to pick a third time just to get to 32. But everyone was a GM for at least two teams. And we did a mock draft. We had laughs. We had fun. And it was awesome. The language, a little salty, so be prepared. But that's just an example of what you get at Dolphins Talk Extra. We also have a private message board. So if you don't like, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook where people are always yelling at you no matter whatever you put up, our private message board is awesome. It's a great community. You can share whatever thoughts you have. No one's going to be jumping down your back. We also have contests where we give you away, where we pass out autographed jerseys, bobblehead dolls, hats, merchandise. That's great. And we have bonus podcasts, some about the Dolphins. We also have some podcasts not about the Dolphins, like Major League Baseball, the NBA playoffs, movies, television, all that good stuff. So patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. One last thing real quick. For the draft, here's the plan. Podcast every night this week. And on Thursday, night one, myself, Josh, and Aaron, we're going to be streaming live. We're going to have some special surprises pop in along the way. People you're going to love to hear from on that night. Night two, same thing. Myself, Josh, and Aaron will be streaming live for night two of the draft. And then Saturday, I'm going to be flying solo. But here's what I'm going to do. Everyone listening to this, I'm going to share the link to this live feed. And like a radio call-in show on Saturday, you can join me live on this YouTube stream. And you might be on when Miami's on the clock. We'll talk about what we think they'll do, what they actually do, and if we like to pick or not. And we'll do that for a couple hours on Saturday. So it's going to be an interactive for open to everybody. Everybody. I'm going to share the link. You can just click it and join me here on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Have some fun on day 3 of the draft because it's about you, the fans, and it's a fun day with the NFL draft. And Miami's got a ton of picks on day 3, so we'll have a lot of fun with that. All right, let's get to the news. There's a lot of it. Well, some of it's news, some of it's rumor and innuendo. We're going to just sort of talk about what's out there in the sphere right now. And I know it's lying season and teams are putting stuff out there, smoke screens. But again, not all of it is smoke screen. Some of this stuff isn't coming from the team, and some of this stuff might be true. Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated, longtime NFL insider, very reputable, has 2 bits of tidbits on the Dolphins. First bit, Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, who we know had some injuries last year with a turf toe, then a hamstring, prevented him from working out the combine, prevented him from working out at Michigan's Pro Day, and then he just had a private workout like last week on Monday, the 14th. And, he did a lot of things at the private workout, checked out medically for the most part, no real issues there. But Albert Breer is reporting this. All of his injuries seem to be behind him. There's no issues in the short term. But he has a knee issue that might limit his long-term NFL career. If you remember, Jay Ajayi, when he was with the Dolphins and first came in the league, had a similar issue. They're like, the first 3-4 years or so, he's going to be fine, but he's not going to be a guy who's going to be there in year 7, 8, 9, 10. And even when he left Miami, he went to the Eagles. He didn't last long with the Eagles. He was there for a couple of years, and he was pretty much out of the league. He did not have a long NFL career. And the worry, not saying it's 100%, but the worry from Albert Breer and what he's hearing is Will Johnson might have that same type of situation where short term, he's going to be fine. First year, second year, third year, even fourth year, he'll be fine. But is he a guy who's going to play, 10 plus years? Maybe not. Now, look, he could, but that's where the worry is with his knee injury. It might be one of those types of knee injuries. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what Albert Breer is reporting. And if this is true, again, I'm no doctor, I'm just saying if, I don't think there's any way Miami will touch him at 13. I think that's too much risk. That's way too much risk. And I think when you're picking 13 and you're a team like Miami, who is rebuilding, I don't care what they say, you're looking for cornerstone pieces who are going to be here for a while. Now, don't laugh, because I know under Chris Greer, pretty much everyone we draft never makes it past their rookie deal, and they just walk. But the utopia is you draft a guy, he plays well, you give him an extension, he's here past his rookie deal. And I think with Will Johnson, because of that, there's some questions around it. Now, look, if they take him, I'm not going to be upset because, again, it's tough to predict the future. Who knows where Albert is, where he has this information, who fed him this information. It could be a team picking, 19 or 20 who wants Will Johnson to fall. That is always a possibility. But if this is true, which again, it might be, I don't think Miami touches him at 13 if that's the case. They're going to look elsewhere, either if they want a corner, Jahdae Barron, or they pivot to another position, probably offensive line, safety, or defensive line. So that's the first report from Albert Breer. The second report is Albert is talking to, all the teams and stuff. He said rival teams of the Dolphins, so probably teams inside the AFC East and the AFC in general, have told him they have noticed that Miami is doing a ton of research on defensive tackles. Not a shock, because Miami really only has 2. In my opinion, they only have 1 in Zach Sealer because, Jones, God love Benito Jones. I don't think he's very good. But so the fact they're doing a ton of research on them, not shocking, because they need to probably get a couple in this draft, and by a couple, at least 2. And with 10 picks, you can make a case they should draft 3. But he also went on to say he is hearing Kenneth Grant from Michigan to Miami at pick 13. Again, take it for what it's worth. It's a rumor, innuendo, little rumblings. That's what Albert Breer is saying. Miami's putting in a lot of work on defensive tackles. They know it's a weak spot on this roster, and he's hearing Kenneth Grant. So take that for what it's worth. That's 2 tidbits from Albert Breer. There was a tidbit from Adam Schefter Tuesday morning that could affect Miami in a roundabout way. Follow me on this. He said Aaron Glenn and the Jets, well, they would love to address offensive line and shore that up. They took an offensive tackle last year. If they take one this year, that really would shore up their offensive line and give them one of the stronger offensive lines in the league. And while the two tight ends and Warren and Loveland are also in play for them because they need weapons because they can't score points, he said, don't be shocked if the Jets at pick number 7 take cornerback Jahdae Barron. That it's Aaron Glenn's first draft as a head coach. And, typically when it's your first draft as a head coach, the GM tries to give you something you're comfortable with. And Aaron Glenn's a former cornerback. He's a former cornerback with the Jets. Aaron Glenn was known for speed. Jahdae Barron is a fast cornerback out of Texas. Some teams have him number one. Well, not number one. Hunter's number one, but take Hunter out of it because he plays offense, he plays defense. So between Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron, some teams have Jahdae Barron number one. He is hearing the Jets might be one of those teams. And at pick 7, they might go cornerback, which if they do, and if this news about Will Johnson is accurate, Miami might be sitting there like, well, we don't want to take Will Johnson with the risk involved there. Possibly. I don't know again. And if he's off the board, well, we can't take a corner in round 1. We got to pivot once again to another position. So the Jets at 7 might be in play for Jahdae Barron. Todd McShay, who used to work for ESPN. Now he's with The Ringer, the Bill Simmons outlet. He's been doing a ton of work this draft season. And I've been sort of following it as well. He's been putting out a lot of good content for The Ringer. And he heard that Miami at 13 might be a landing spot for Kelvin Banks Jr. at Texas. That's what he's hearing. Now, here's the thing. Miami's got so many holes that whatever they add at 13 is only going to plug one of them. And I think fans of the Dolphins are going to be upset no matter what they do. Because if they don't take an offensive lineman, you're going to get a segment of fans going, well, they're ignoring the offensive line again. If they do take an offensive lineman, they're going to be like, we suck on defense, and they're not doing anything to address it in round 1. Like, there's no winning here. And part of it, and look, this is Chris Greer's fault because he made this mess. He created this mess. This is all on Greer. But in round 1 at 13, if they were to take someone like Kelvin Banks, I wouldn't prefer that. I would kind of hope they go somewhere else at another position, but I can't be mad either because we can't sit here for like 9 months of the year and say they ignore the offensive line. They never touch the offensive line. They try to go cheap on the offensive line. And then when they use the 13th pick in the draft on an offensive lineman, be mad. So it's kind of hypocritical. And I think a lot of fans of the Dolphins have to look in the mirror about that. Like, we can't come off as total hypocrites. Now, I wouldn't take Banks, but here's the thing. From all the other draft gurus out there that you read this week, that you're hearing from, Jeremiah, Kuiper, Yates, Schrager, a lot of them have Banks gone by 13. And there's a lot of reporting out there that the 3 offensive tackles, Will Campbell, Membo, and Banks, in whichever order, are going to all go top 10. So I know McShay, he might be hearing Miami has the hots, as they say, for Kelvin Banks. That's great. He might not be there at 13. Really, it's going to come down to, should Or Sanders go like in the top 10? And if he does, that's going to push a player down to Miami. If he doesn't, that means another quality position player is going to go in the first 12 picks, and that's going to hurt Miami at 13. But look, you're 13th. You should have a lot of options here. You're going to get a very good player. So no one's going to cry for the Miami Dolphins. But that's how this draft is going to play out, sort of. If Sanders goes in the top 10, that's great because it pushes down like another offensive tackle, pushes down a cornerback and all this stuff to Miami. That's great. If 2 tight ends and Warren and Loveland, if they go in the top 10 or in the top 12, I should say, that's good for Miami because I think most fans really don't want to see them take a tight end, no matter how great Tyler Warren is, and even Loveland as well. That's going to push down, once again, an offensive tackle, a corner to Miami at 13. If you get all 3, that's the jackpot. Sanders and 2 tight ends go in the top 12. If you're the Dolphins, you're sitting pretty because, I mean, someone has to fall to you, whether it's Membo, Will Campbell, Banks, Johnson, and Jahdae Barron. Like, you're going to have options. And that's not even talking about guys like Grant or Harmon. So really, so Todd McShay says he's hearing Banks to Miami at 13. I'm just telling you what he's saying. We'll see, obviously, what happens. And I think, again, fans of the Dolphins, I think they're going to be all pumped up. And look, right now, Chris Greer, I think Congress has a higher approval rating than Chris Greer right now. Like, it's bad amongst fans of the Dolphins. Like, if it's higher than 3%, I'd be shocked. Like, fans just despise Chris Greer. He's been here too long. He's overstayed his welcome. As I always say, when you're here that long and things aren't working out, sometimes you got to open the window and let the stink out. Chris Greer should not be the general manager of this team, but he is. There's nothing we can do about it. But no matter what he does Thursday night, fans are going to be pissed. And look, no one has any sympathy for Chris Greer. None. But fans are going to be pissed. And I think that's also not fair either. Miami has a million holes. Are they all his fault? Yes, but they have a million holes. They're not going to fill them all on night one. They're not going to fill them all after night one and night two. If you think Miami's going to fill these holes and then compete to win in 2025, you got your head in the sand. This is a rebuilding year. The Dolphins are at best a 500 team in 2025. At best. They're not going to fill all these holes. So if you want a nose tackle and a cornerback in rounds 1 and 2, don't get mad if they take an offensive lineman and a safety in rounds 1 or 2. These are all needs, and they're not going to fill them all in this draft. What you want this weekend coming up here from Miami once the draft starts is you want them to fill half these needs successfully. If they draft with their 10 picks, and after their 10 picks a year from now, they've added 2 quality offensive linemen and say 2 quality, an end and like a nose tackle to put on that line, that's great. Now, it means you're going to stink this year in the secondary, and it means you're going to, but next year, then you start to address corner and safety and build up the secondary. Or this year, if they address, say, cornerback in round 1, offensive line in rounds 2 and 3 and stuff, but you're going to be weak on the, at safety a little bit, and you're going to be weak next to Zach Sealer, okay, they're not going to fill them all. And if you're going into this draft expecting Chris Greer just to go like, we need a safety, take a safety. I need a corner, take a corner. I need and offensive lineman, take an offensive lineman. Now I need and all these guys are going to hit, and they're all going to be home runs, and they're all going to start. You're nuts. It's just not going to happen. He's got 10 picks. If 3 of them play this year, be happy. 3 out of 10. Be happy if 3 actually play. Because look at last year's draft. He had picks last year. How many actually played? You got nothing from Muhammad Kamara. You got nothing from Jalen Wright. I mean, you got something from Chop Robinson, and Patrick Paul filled in when some guys were hurt. Out of all those picks last year, and you got a little bit out of Malik Washington as the year went on. You got nothing from Taj Washington, nothing from Patrick McMorris, nothing from Muhammad Kamara. I mean, nothing from Jalen Wright. So if you're thinking 10 picks, he's just going to take a guy at each spot, start like in round 1, corner, safety, offensive lineman, tight end, defensive lineman. We're set. You're nuts. Because half those guys are going to be a bust, and it just doesn't work that way. So if he can, fix a couple of these spots, that's why I'm all for doubling down. We know where we're weak. So if they go corner, offensive guard, offensive tackle, and then take another corner, I'm fine with that because we're fixing 2 areas on this team. Odds are in your favor then. And then you go sign a couple old guys to fill the spots. You play out the year. The next year, you circle back and you double down again on the spots that you missed this year. That's the approach I would take. I know it's not. It won't be his. It won't be his approach. But yeah. So I think that's where fans sort of, as we get closer to Thursday, get your expectations in check. Now, look, you can be mad at Chris Greer. I ain't going to tell you to not be mad at him. I'm mad at him. I think he sucks. But you also got to be realistic about this and just realize this ain't going to get fixed in one draft. One other report from NFL insider Jonathan Jones. He put out his one and only mock draft today. And again, he said with his mock, he's just going off what he's hearing. And again, he's one of those insider types who's well-respected, talks to everyone around the league. Here's a bunch of stuff. In round 1 of his mock, he has Miami taking offensive tackle Josh Simmons of Ohio State. And as he points out, and he's 100% right with this, if Josh Simmons of Ohio State doesn't get hurt last season and miss some time, he would be the first offensive lineman taken off the board in this draft. He'd be higher than Membo, he'd be higher than Will Campbell, and he'd damn sure be higher than Kelvin Banks. That's how good Josh Simmons is. Now, all of his medicals cleared when he was at the combine and when he was at his pro day. All that, it's all clear. So he's healthy. The thing about Josh Simmons that's intriguing, he can play both left tackle and right tackle. Some guys struggle. Patrick Paul can't play right tackle. So Patrick Paul's a left tackle only. But Josh Simmons can play both. Now, can he play guard? I've heard no, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. I'm sure the Miami Dolphins have done their homework. They've spoken to people. Maybe they think he can play guard. And if he can, again, the 13th, fine pick, because again, you're getting the best offensive tackle in this draft, arguably. And it gives you insurance where if Patrick Paul stinks on toast this year, he goes to the curb, Josh Simmons kicks out to left tackle. Austin Jackson, always injured. If he misses another, 5, 6, 7, 8 games this year, Josh Simmons kicks out to right tackle. Won't have an issue. He can play both sides. There's that. And plus, after this year, if you want to move on from Austin Jackson, because he makes a pretty penny, even though they just restructured him, but that seems to be the Miami way these days. You can kick him to the curb, probably open up some cap space. I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't have them in front of me. And then have Josh Simmons as your new right tackle. Patrick Paul hopefully works out as your left tackle and go from there. So there are pros here taking Simmons. I just don't know about the guard thing, if he can play guard. I've been told no, but again, I'm not an expert, and I'm going to trust some people who, actually work for teams when it comes to that in that regard. Although with Chris Greer, I probably shouldn't trust him, but some other teams might think he can play guard. So we'll see. But that's who Jonathan Jones said. Keep an eye out for Miami with Josh Simmons there. And, look, there's going to be a lot of reports each day. We'll talk about them. Take all with a grain of salt. I'm just sort of talking about them there just to, share with you what's out there in case you don't have time to sort of follow all this stuff. I'm just sort of compiling this information to share with you. That's what this podcast is, a chance for you to catch up on all the news of the day with the Dolphins, what's out there involving news and reports and rumors. So check that out. There's also a Tyreek Hill story. I am not talking about it because go to the website, our website, and you can read up on the latest fallout from his domestic incident. It's not good. I mean, this guy, he's something else. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not talking about it, but you can read it at our website. Go to DolphinsTalk.com. All right, before I get to the rest of the show, quick shout out to everyone listening at FinHeaven.com. Everyone go to FinHeaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio, Audible, or one of the other hundreds of platforms we're on, please be sure to subscribe. Like I said, a ton of shows this week. We're going to have a ton of shows next week after the draft, breaking down the players, talking to some experts to give you insight on who we took, not just in rounds 1 and 2, but the guys we take late even to see if they are a scheme fit, if they got a chance. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton to talk about because it's the Miami Dolphins, and there's always a ton to talk about. All right. Final topic here. We're going to talk about my final mock draft I put out. Now, not a Miami Dolphins only mock draft. I did a mock draft for round 1. And it's the last one I'm going to do for round 1. I'll have out my 7-round Miami Dolphins mock draft. But let's talk about this one here, round 1. I'm going to go through it real quick and just give you quick tidbits on why I have who going where. Number 1, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward. We all think that's a lock at this point. Cleveland Browns, Travis Hunter. I think there's been enough of the quote-unquote NFL insiders have pretty much all but confirmed this, so I got him going there. Number 3, the Giants, Abdul Carter. These are I think those 3 are like set in stone. And I didn't do any trades here. That's just a waste of time. I'm just picking it as it falls today. Excuse me. Now, pick number 4 with the Patriots. This is where I think this draft starts. They could go many ways. And I have them going away. Nobody really has them going. And I got them taking running back Ashton Gentry. Anybody see why are they taking Ashton Gentry? Everyone's got them taking Will Campbell. Yeah, that's everybody. That's not me. The Patriots, their offense has nothing. Now, I know they need offensive line help. I know that. But they have no weapons for poor Drake May. And I think they have to start to surround him with weapons. Ashton Gentry is just unreal. And, he is grading out as one of the higher or one of the highest running backs we've seen come into the league in recent years. And I think you give May a running game like that, they can get their offensive lineman at the top of round 2. They got to pick it. Look, it's a long draft. Everyone think it ends in round. It doesn't end in round 1. They'll get a quality offensive lineman in round 2. I think they might not get a running back as good as Gentry in round 2. So I got them adding a weapon to help their quarterback. Pick 4. Pick 5, Mason Graham, Jacksonville. And there's been a lot of rumblings that Jacksonville wants Ashton Gentry. So if he is not picked 4th, they might take him at 5, Jacksonville. But I got them taking Mason Graham, like many of the experts do. Pick 6, Raiders. I got them taking Armand Membo. And here's why. Even if Ashton is there at 6 for the Raiders, I think they're going offensive line. Their new GM is from Tampa, and he has a history of taking offensive linemen. Again, I think they're a type of team who wants to fix the offensive line first, and then they'll add a running back maybe around 2 or 3. So Raiders, Armand Membo. 7, Jets, Tyler Warren. They have no weapons on offense. I mean, they got one wide receiver. Hall last year was horrible as a running back. Tyler Warren to the Jets, I think, really helps them. Panthers at 8. I got them taking Jalen Walker, edge, Georgia, just a stud athlete. And they need help on defense bad. 9, Saints. I went Shedeur Sanders. I probably regret them, me putting him there. I got a feeling Sanders is going to be in for a fall on draft night. But in my mock, I have the Saints taking the quarter because if they don't take one here, I don't know. So I got them taking Sanders, but that's a tough one. Bears at 10, Will Campbell. They have done a lot to revamp their offensive line this offseason, but a couple of guys they added are kind of old. Well, at least Joe Thuney he's older. Will Campbell, he helps them now, helps them long term. Will Campbell, 10 to Chicago. San Francisco, Kelvin Banks. I just think San Francisco's a smart team. Banks, I know he's been knocked around a little bit in this pre-draft process, but he's still very, very good. And San Francisco needs someone long-term to replace Trent Williams. So even if he plays left guard or right guard this year, this is probably Trent's last year, and he can take over a tackle for San Francisco. So I think that's why they're going to be in on him. Pick 12, Cowboys. Got him taking T-Mac, wide receiver from Arizona. Tetaroa, McMillan. Cowboys need a weapon out opposite Lamb, and McMillan's the number 1 wide receiver. 13, Miami, Jahdae Barron. I still think if he's on the board, he's the pick. And right now, if you're asking me if he's not on the board, I think they're going Grant or I think they're going Banks. This Will Johnson report, again, assuming it's true from Albert Breer, I think is going to scare Miami off Will Johnson. So I got them pick 13, Jahdae Barron. 14, Colts, Colston Loveland. Man, Colston Loveland's going to go high in this draft. 14 is probably his floor. There's a chance he goes top 10. The buzz around Colston Loveland from Matt Miller's of the world and Pat, all the quote-unquote guys who do this year-round, they got him as like the 6th or 7th best overall player in this draft. He ain't going lower than 14. He might go top 10. Atlanta Falcons, Mike Green, edge Marshall. Their defense stinks. They got very few picks in this draft. They need to hit on them, and they need someone to get after the quarterback. Mike Green out of Marshall is it. Arizona, Tyler Booker at 16. I think Arizona needs to shore up their offensive line. The 3 best offensive tackles are gone. I think they go inside Tyler Booker, and he's just like a road grader, and I think for that offense, he actually fits. Cincinnati, pick 17. Every pick for Cincinnati should be on defense. Their defense is bleeping horrible. I got them taking Mikael Williams, edge, Georgia. Again, Trey Hendrickson's probably leaving via trade maybe this weekend. And they have to find a replacement long term. Even if they somehow make peace with him and they pay him and he stays, they need so much help on defense. Williams will be just fine. Seattle Seahawks, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. The Seahawks lost damn near every wide receiver they have. Yes, they signed Cooper Kupp. He's old. He's always hurt. Matthew Golden, they need bad. And I got him going to Seattle at 18. 19, Tampa, Jahad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. Shoulder injury might cost him time at the start of the year, but this dude's a dog. If he wasn't hurt, he'd be probably like a top 12, 13, 14 pick. Campbell's the real deal. He falls to Tampa at 19. Tampa's too smart to let him go any further. Denver, pick 20. And there's a lot of reports the Broncos are trying to trade up in round 1. So keep an eye on them. I got him taking running back Omaria Hampton, North Carolina. Gentry gets all the publicity. Hampton, he might be almost not as good, but damn close. I think that's a small gap. And Sean Payton needs a running back to put behind Nix. And I think he takes Hampton, North Carolina. Pittsburgh, 21. Everyone's thinking quarterback. Not so fast, my friend, to quote the great Lee Corso. We love you, Lee. I got them taking Derek Harmon, defensive tackle. Oregon, they need help up front on defense. Here's the deal. Pittsburgh's built to win now. What the hell are they going to do with a rookie quarterback? You can't play him this year. So I think Pittsburgh's, if it's not Rodgers, they'll trade for Kirk. They'll trade with Atlanta for Kirk Cousins. They don't need a rookie quarterback. Now, maybe they had a quarterback round 2 or 3 or 4, fine. But Jackson Dart in round 1, not for a team that's built to win this year. Harmon is a dog. You can step in and put him in the middle of your defense. He gets after the quarterback and play the run. I kind of like him a little bit more than Grant, honestly. So if Miami does go somewhere 13, I might prefer Harmon over Grant. It's really, you can't go wrong either way, but he's that good. Chargers, 22. Mecca, the kid from the wide receiver from Ohio State, whose name I always screw up. I don't want to screw it up today. Herbert's got no weapons anymore. And yes, Michigan man, Jim Harbaugh will take an Ohio State wide receiver because Ohio State wide receivers in the NFL just are outstanding. So I got Mecca going 22 to the Chargers. 23, the Packers. Nick Scourton, edge, Texas A&M. After the season ended, Matt LaFleur in his press conference made the point that the Packers pass rush must get better. They they try to fix it here at least with Nick Scourton, edge, Texas A&M. The Vikings, 24, Malachi Starks. Their secondary needs bodies, and Starks is awesome. I think it's a steal. I don't know if he'll fall to 24 on Thursday, but he could. And if he does, the Vikings, which again is another team with almost no picks in this draft. I think they got 4. They're going to be looking to trade down probably if they can, and add more picks. So if a team like Cleveland or a team like the Giants want to trade back into round 1 to take a quarterback per se, I could see the Vikings being a trade partner in 24. But I got them taking Starks. 25, Houston, Josh Simmons. If you trade Laramie Tunsil, I understand why they did it, but they better get some offensive linemen. I know they signed Cam Robinson to a 1-year deal for like $12 million. Cam Robinson, but he's not a long-term answer. Josh Simmons is the pick. Rams, 26. Cornerback out of Kentucky, Maxwell Harrison. Probably the next best corner in this draft, and I think the Rams need help at corner. So that's why that pick. Ravens, Nick Emanwari, safety, South Carolina. He's a Raven through and through. Prototypical Raven. Physical freak athlete. Doesn't have a defined position, but they'll figure it out as they go. Some weeks maybe strong safety, some weeks free safety, some weeks like linebacker even a little bit, and he's in the box more. They'll figure it out. Nick Emanwari, he's a perfect Raven. Dude can just built out of granite, chiseled out of granite, can run like a deer. He's a Raven through and through. Lions, they need pass rush help because their defense stinks too. And I got him taking the edge rusher out of Boston College. Donovan Izaruku. I probably said that name wrong, but he's a hell of an edge rusher out of Boston College. Wrecked havoc in the ACC this past year. He's a kneecap biter for Dan Campbell. Washington, 29. Again, edge rusher help here. James Pierce Jr., Tennessee, help get after the quarterback for the Commanders. Bills, 30. Kenneth Grant, Michigan. Look, if you're the Bills, you got one goal right now in life. Be Pat Mahomes. And you want to get guys up front to make Pat Mahomes' life hell. Grant, awesome. And at pick 30 is kind of a steal. 31, Chiefs, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. Kansas City's got holes on their offensive line they need to fix, but I think here we saw in the Super Bowl, Philadelphia was just more physical than them, and they need to get more physical up front on defense. Walter Nolan. And pick 32, the Eagles, Shamar Stewart, who I love. And I've seen some mocks have him go like top 10, and he could go top 10. I think the lack of production in college, kind of like we saw from Chop Robinson last year. Everyone said when he was at Penn State, he had no sacks. He didn't do this. It's the same thing here with Shamar Stewart, and I think it's going to cause him to fall. And I think he's going to, only the Eagles, he falls right in their lap, and they catch a huge break. So that's my final round 1 mock draft. And check up on the website Tuesday morning, Ash Nesher with time, going to release, which we do every year. It's a lot of fun. Tom and Mike's dueling round one mock drafts. We each pick round one independently, so we don't know who the other one's picking, head to head. And at the end of round one, we see who got the most right. The past 2 years, we've actually tied, so we got to sort of get out of this streak of having ties. But yeah, that's it right there. So be on the lookout for that. One thing I should say one more thing here before I wrap up. PFF. Gotta love PFF. I'm not a huge PFF fan, but they had all their experts do a round one mock draft. So they assigned each team to an expert who works at PFF. And this Miami mock draft is, and sorry for my language, the wildest fucking mock draft I've ever seen. I think it's got a 0% chance of happening. But again, you take all mock drafts with a grain of salt, and is what it is. It's just one person's educated guess. But with this is just one person taking a guess, because I think almost 90% of this, 99% of this is no chance of happening. So with this 7-round PFF mock draft, and if, paying for PFF these days might be a waste of money after I tell you what this mock draft is. And it's up on our website if you want to read about their reasoning and everything. So go to the website, DolphinsTalk.com. First off, they got Miami making 2 trades. Trade number 1, Miami sends Tyreek Hill to Houston for a pick in round 3, pick 79. I think Miami would love to make that trade. I don't think Houston wants to touch Hill, pay Hill, or want anything to do with Hill, so I don't think it's happening. Then the second trade is Miami takes that pick 79 they get from Houston, along with one of their 5th-round picks, pick 150, and they take 79 and 150, send it to Minnesota to move up 8 spots in round 3 to pick 71. Are you going to give up a 5th-round pick to move up 8 spots in round 3? Maybe they would. I think that's kind of unrealistic too, but okay, whatever. We'll play along. Here's where it gets good, folks. Sit down, be prepared to laugh, put on your seatbelts. If you're driving while you're listening, just be prepared to laugh because you're probably going to drive off the road. Round 1, pick 13. They have Miami taking Ashton Gentry. Now, if he's there, it's not a bad pick. But all the buzz this week from Mel Kiper, Field Yates, Albert Breer, Todd McShay, Ashton Gentry might go as high as 4, and he's going no lower than 6. They got him falling to 13. It's not happening. He's one of the most coveted players in round 1, outside of the quarterback Ward and outside of Hunter and outside of Abdul Carter. Jacksonville might take him at 5. Patriots, I had him taking him at 4. Raiders at 6. The Bears are dying to get him at 10. There's no way he's falling to 13. But okay, they got Ashton Gentry falling to 13. Crazier things have happened. Maybe they got sources and they know something we don't know or that nobody else knows. Pick number 2 is actually a good pick. Donovan Jackson, Ohio State guard. Again, from all the mocks, he probably won't be there at 48, but if he does, that's not unreasonable. Okay, I'm not going to spend time there. Pick 3. Yep, after they trade Hill, and they get pick 79, then take 79 and 150, and they have this new pick at pick 71. They have Miami taking quarterback Jackson Dart. Now, if you're sitting there listening to me, you're probably going, well, I see mock drafts where Dart's going number 9 to the Saints, or he's going to Pittsburgh at 21. How is he going to get through all around 1, all around 2, most around 3, where Miami takes him at pick 71? You're right. Makes no fucking sense, but that's why this is what PFF has up on their website. God love them. But they have Miami. Look, Jackson Dart at pick 71 is a great pick. I'll take him at 71, and no fucking chance he's going to be there. Then with a regular pick at pick 98, Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle, Florida State. That's fine. And the rest of the picks are pretty much fine. They take a safety at 116 out of Oklahoma. And Bowman, they take another corner, or they take their first corner and with their second pick in round 4, Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Then they go tight end with pick 155 in round 5, Mitchell Evans, Notre Dame. That's fine. Then round 7, they got 3 picks, Cam Horsley, a lineman out of BC, Treshawn Holden, wide receiver, Oregon, and an edge rusher, Ethan Downs at Oklahoma. So, which is fine. Who cares? But first off, they're trading Hill. Well, not happening. I mean, they'd love to do it, but who the hell's going to give them a 3rd-round pick for a guy? Like I said, go to our website and just read the latest report on what's going on with him and his wife. He's just a despicable human being. And a pick in round 3, and they have to pay him. So, I mean, why would any team even consider it? Then Miami's going to take that pick and trade it with another pick to move up 8 spots, okay, you can maybe convince me they would do that. Maybe. And then Ashton Gentry's fallen to 13. Jackson Dart's fallen to 71. I mean, it'd be a hell of a draft. It'd be an A+ draft, even though you're not going to fill many needs. Your offensive line's still going to stink for the most part. You got no secondary for the most part. And it's going to be poor Zach Sealer by himself this year, I guess. But you got possibly a quarterback replacement for Tua. You're going to have a great running game. Mind you, no one's going to be able to block for him. You'll have, Ashton Gentry, Achane, Jalen Wright might be good. Who knows? They're going to have a great running game, although with no blockers. That's PFF. People wonder why I don't take PFF seriously. That mock draft. And I know it's a mock draft. They're fun. Take them for what they're worth. But that makes 0 sense on any level. But they actually published it. So if you listen to them, that's on you. That's on you. All right. That's all for today's show. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Wherever you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio, Audible. Subscribe. We got shows every day this week you don't want to miss. Thursday night live on YouTube, tons of surprises. Friday night live on YouTube, tons of surprises, as well as our correspondent, Dolph Freaky, from right here at DolphinsTalk.com, live on the scene in Green Bay, reporting live. Going to check in with us there. And on Saturday, I'm going to be on for as long as we can go, live interactive where people can join me live on the stream. We'll talk Dolphins, and everyone can come on for a few minutes. And it's open to anybody, any listener, anyone, free. It's going to be just pop on here, and we'll chat and have some fun on day 3 of the draft, which I know gets kind of tedious. Probably won't be on for all day 3, but we'll do a couple hours and have some fun. And check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Tons of great articles. Also, on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky at Dolphins Talk. Check us out there. Everyone have a great Tuesday. Yeah, because by the time this drops, it's going to be Tuesday. Everyone have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you again after a while. Folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity. Hey guys, Mike here from DolphinsTalk.com. Just want to thank you for watching this video today. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this video. And also just thank you in general. I know you have a lot of other podcast options out there these days, whether it's with the Miami Dolphins or about the Miami Dolphins, and with non-Miami Dolphins podcast stuff like true crime, politics, NBA, Major League Baseball. We do appreciate the support you guys provide us, and we do thank you for watching our content. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know. So thank you so much. Just want to say thank you. And also, don't forget to sign up for our Patreon service. Go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. And for just $3 a month, you will get more Miami Dolphins coverage and shows. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Thank you again, and everyone have a great day.